Bicep curls. So the fundamental pattern of a bicep curl can be done standing, it can be done sitting, it can be done in a lot of different ways. I'm going to demonstrate it standing right now, but know that you could do this seated, and it's going to allow you to get rid of a little intensity and allow you to focus a little bit more on the bicep itself. Either one is fine, whatever your setup is, whatever works best for you. So at its basic, all a bicep curl is bringing your wrist towards your shoulder. So this is all a bicep curl is. So we're lifting up and we're lowering down, keeping that elbow in towards the body, hug in, curl up, we lower down. By changing things, like the placement of your hand, having it face up, changes which head of the bicep you're hitting. So you're going to get a slightly different exercise if your thumb is facing up as if your thumb is facing out to the right. Neither is better or worse. They're just different variations. They can be nice to trade out. Bicep curls can be done concentrating on just one arm, so just one arm doing the action. It can be done with both arms doing the action at the same time. Or you can take it alternating. One curls up, and then we swap. You will find you get different intensity with each one. So oftentimes if someone is using weights and they're doing two curls at the same time, and they're at a place between two weights that are kind of far apart, especially for women, we sometimes start with a much lower weight and we're looking at things like a 10, a 15, a 20. That's a 5-pound jump. That's a lot. When you're working with 35 and 40, that 5-pound jump, not quite as big of a deal, but when you're working with a lower weight, that much of a jump can feel like an awful lot. So rather than feeling like you just are stuck using the same weight forever and ever and ever, alternating will oftentimes let you go up a weight without compromising. So something that you can play with. Now let's look a little bit more closely at how this works. So when we're working with the bicep curl, especially standing, people will start to sway back. We start to get really lazy about what's happening in our lower body. Your whole foundation matters, even when you're focusing on a small muscle like your bicep. So to start by setting up, again, always come back to this. Feet about hip distance apart. You want a strong, stable stance. A soft bend in your knees, so your knees aren't locked out. You've got a little support there. Core nice and engaged. Shoulders back and down. Always getting that engagement through the upper back and that broadness through the chest. So first variation is just a normal bicep curl. So we're just drawing that weight straight up and straight back down. I'm not letting my arm go fully straight to where I completely lose all engagement. I'm stopping with it still ever so slightly bent. Drawing it back up, you get a little squeeze at the top, and then lowering back down. Next variation would be a hammer curl. So for that hammer curl, we're making that change between thumb being forward, thumb being facing in. When you come up, that thumb is facing up. So the dumbbell is facing forward from you. So for a hammer curl, everything else starts exactly the same, but we draw it up. You're going to feel it ever so slightly differently. Get a little squeeze at the top, and slow and controlled, we lower it back down. You can do the exact same thing from seated. So coming into a seat, nice strong stance. Everything else applies. Core engaged. Everything else nice and working. Taking that curl up and lower. Now I'm forced to change my range of motion here because my leg is in the way. This is why I like to do them standing, because you'll see some people do them seated. Last way you can do them seated, I think it's really fantastic because it really lets you concentrate. These are actually called concentrated curls. So you're going to take your elbow and you're going to place it dead center of your leg. So we're coming right here, and you're really pressing back. This is going to allow you to have full range of motion and really concentrate on the muscle. So I can extend it long, curl it all the way up, squeeze at the top, lower it down, curl it up, squeeze at the top, nice and slow, lower it down. Technically, you can do a hammer curl this way, but it feels a little awkward. So we're going to keep it turned out, curl it up, squeeze, and lower it down. So again, there's no real functional difference. There's no reason one is better than the other. It's just a matter of figuring out what works best for you. Changing it out from time to time is totally okay. Standing, seated, whichever works for you. And again, these can be done using both arms at the same time. So the thing that I want you to watch out for is the tendency is from here to give almost a push to take it up. You want to really isolate and let this entire activity come right there from the biceps, not from anything else.